I don't often jump on email solicitations. We get a bunch of them. But there was something about the email you sent me, and I remember replying to it, and I was like, "Oh boy, if this goes south, I'm in trouble." But to be honest with you, you've exceeded our expectations across the board.
Hey, Andrej here, founder of HoloGrowth, and today I'm here with Brad. Brad, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks.
Awesome. So to kick things off, do you just want to tell a bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure, yeah. I am the Vice President of Marketing and Club Growth with Indy 11 Professional Soccer in Indianapolis, Indiana. Also oversee merchandise and camps.
Awesome. That sounds good. And what led you to the decision of working with us, working with HoloGrowth to manage your paid advertising?
Yeah, that was interesting because I don't often jump on email solicitations. We get a bunch of them. But there was something about the email you sent me, and I remember replying to it, and we probably traded emails for a month or two before I got comfortable in actually pulling the trigger on it. And I can't remember, was it the corn jerseys that we started with? What was the first thing we worked on together?
I think so, yeah. It was either the corn jerseys or the one before that. Yeah. But I definitely remember the corn jerseys.
Yeah, so I entered it very cautiously, and I was like, "Oh boy, if this goes south, I'm in trouble." But to be honest with you, you've exceeded our expectations across the board.
Nice. Yeah, happy to hear that. So was there like anything specific that stood out with us compared to like other agencies reaching out to you?
Yeah, I think probably the things that I'm gravitating on more are the ease of use. I mean, you make it very, very easy. I can take that completely off my plate, whereas sometimes I have to over manage and micromanage a campaign. And what's great is I can just turn it over to you. And the first one I did, and I was probably a little bit more hands-on, but as I've gained confidence and comfort in what you do, the ease of use is one thing. I think the second element is the numbers. You back it up with statistics. So when we start looking at what our marketing spend is, and you have the reports that show it's 2x, 3x, 4x on what we committed to the campaign, it's very easy to justify the next one.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I remember like before we started working together, you were running some ads in the past, but for most of them, you weren't really like accurately tracking how much money you put into the ads and how much sales, how much revenue you generated out of those. And I feel like that is basically the best way to run ads because you know like what you're spending the money for and you know what you get out of it.
Right. Not just that we weren't accurately tracking it, but I don't think that we were being as efficient and accurate with our marketing spends. You know, I remember when we gave you access to the Facebook page and you came in and you started saying, "Hey, you really should tweak this and this audience, and these are the different things." So, you know, I used to be a soccer coach. I relate it a lot to this. Back in the old days, a soccer coach would be everything. I'm the nutritionist, the weightlifting coach, the strength coach, the tactical coach, the technical coach. And as the game has evolved, you start bringing in people into those lanes. You bring in a nutritionist so you can focus on the technical, tactical stuff. And that's really what's been great about this is, you know this lane, you know what buttons to push, you know how to create similar audiences and who to promote it to. So when we turn it over to you, it allows us the freedom to spend more time in other areas.
Yeah, that makes sense. And was there a specific point in the business in Indy 11's business side where you noticed that you need to make a change or that you need to change something in terms of the advertising because like something just wasn't working or you weren't getting the results that you were hoping for?
Yeah, that's a great question because I can't put my finger on one specific thing that led us to go down the road with you. I think it was just this general feeling of we're doing okay, but we're kind of in the dark. And how do we get better? And so once we brought you in and you started looking at things on the back end and how we were doing things and making suggestions, everybody in the office got a whole lot more comfortable saying, all right, he gets it. Let's turn it over to him. Let him run with it. Let's see how the campaign goes. And then we can make a decision on whether we continue down that road. And so we created a separate landing page so we could track exactly how your ads were generating revenue for the club. And big dopamine hit every time there's a little ding and you go check that website and there's another jersey that's sold, saying, all right, Andrej, keep it going.
Now you just want to spend more on ads and get even more sales.
This will be the one that we've got coming up right now is what, our fourth different campaign with you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think it's the fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah, love to hear that.
That's a good endorsement. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, you briefly already touched on it, but like generally speaking, what have been the results of like partnering up with us and working with us?
Well, the big thing is every dollar that we spend is trackable. As you put out billboard ads, you put out radio ads, you put out TV ads, and you get, this is how many impressions you got. Does it lead to a ticket sale? Does it lead to a merchandise sale? You don't know. But the nice part on that back end data that you collect and present to us, and when we go through it, you're like, here's how many clicks, here's how many sales you had, here's the dollar amount, these are the pages that they visited as far as tickets and merchandise. So it's very easy at that point to go into the different departments in the office and say, here's what this campaign is materializing for us, which then makes it very easy for the next campaign to become approved because everybody's like, hey, just keep giving him stuff. He's doing it.
Yeah. And now, what is one piece of advice you have for like other clients to get the most out of our service? You already briefly touched on it, like that in the first campaign, you were very hesitant, and it was like more you tried to have like more control and be more like hands-on. And now for the last campaigns, you basically just gave us the assets and let us run. So any advice for like other clients or like new clients?
Well, I think it's very similar to any relationship. You're kind of excited going in because there's some great possibilities with it. But then as the relationship grows and you start building faith and trust in one another, then the confidence starts to grow. And so, the toughest part is sometimes taking that first step. And I was very hesitant. And, right now, the kind of comfort and trust I have in you handling things for our brand is earned because of the four different campaigns that we've done and the results on those. So I can't tell anybody not to be cautious because I think I told you when we first started out is I watched the dollars of this company like they were my own. And so you really have to get into that pool and start swimming to start gaining the confidence in the moves that you're making. And so that leap of faith was a big one for us.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, for most of the clients that we start to work with, we often tell them you don't have to like spend a lot of budget on like the first campaign. We can start slowly. And then like once we have that trust, once we show that we are able to get the results, we can then start to increase the ad spend more, run multiple campaigns and all of those things. Because nowadays you have to be, especially nowadays, but always you have to be careful who you trust and who you, especially with like advertising budget, who you give that money.
Right. And I think one area where you did earn a lot more trust was when you turned down opportunities. Like we'd come to you with a campaign that we thought would be good and we had some money attached to it. So there was obviously motivation for you to accept it. But when you looked at it, you said that's not one that we're going to be able to lift. That's not something that we're going to be able to get you the results that you need on that. And so rather than taking the money on a campaign that you thought you didn't have faith in, you earned a lot of trust when you said, no, I'm not going to do that one.
Yeah. And we always try to be as honest as possible. And we're only looking for long-term partnerships, long-term relationships. And why should we run something where we're not confident that we can get results just to potentially mess up the relationship. Yeah, that's not.
That's counterculture. There's a lot of people that would take the check, cash the check, and then say, okay, I'll move on to the next one. And so, that when you start looking at how you build confidence and trust in somebody, saying no sometimes, when it is counter to what most businesses would do, that goes a long way.
Yeah, I agree. And now, last question. What would you say to someone who is considering working with us, but still a bit hesitant or still not sure whether it's the right thing to do for their business?
I think the best advice I could give is just start small until you get to the level of trust that we've got with HoloGrowth. We've developed that trust and that belief over 4 different campaigns. That can't happen overnight. So as you want to explore the possibilities of what HoloGrowth can do for you, start small. And then every time there's a win, you can start to grow that relationship and grow that trust.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you very much, Brett. I really love working with you, love the partnership, and looking forward to many more years of working together. And yeah, thank you for being on this interview.
Happy to be a part of it and excited for what you brought to our business. Thanks, Andrej.
Awesome. Thank you.